This is Andre Touchy Fili. You're listening to the Verbal Scrap Podcast. Let's get weird.
This is the Shark, Anthony Avila. You're listening to Verbal Scrap.
This is Justin the Raw Deal Baesman. You're listening to Verbal Scrap.
This is Nan Fan, and you're listening to the Verbal Scrap Podcast. I'm a fighter. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go in there. I'm going to fight.
Hey, this is Dave Hirschbein, MMA Gold, and you're listening to the Verbal Scrap.
I've worked so hard to do what I got to do in here. I took so much blood for this sport. I took so much pain, everything for this sport.
Hey, y'all, this is Zeke Johnston. You're listening to SRMMA.com Verbal Scrap. Stay tuned. They got some good stuff coming up.
This is the 47th episode of the Verbal Scrap Podcast, brought to you by SRMMA.com. You're now listening on our iTunes. I know this to be true. If you aren't, you can subscribe to iTunes for free. Just search the Verbal Scrap Podcast. Check us out on Twitter at SRMMA Tweets and on Facebook, facebook.com/SRMMA. Today's episode is brought to you by MMA Pink, the new female clothing line from our MMA Gold sponsor. If you're interested in more information about MMA Gold's management and their new female clothing line, you can check out MMAGold.com for more. We got so much on the show for you today. Mark the Machine Matthews going to be fighting Scott Hands of Steel Smith at West Coast Fighting 6. He's going to be fighting for their middleweight title. We had the opportunity to chat with him, so we're going to be talking more and more later on. We also got Jeremiah Labiano on the episode talking about his West Coast title fight. Jason Powell going to be fighting for a West Coast amateur title. Also had the opportunity to speak to him. You might have saw him earlier in SRMMA's Pertinent Pieces on the website. If you haven't, go ahead, check it out now. It's a quality piece. You'll be able to check out his highlight video as well. Like I said, he's going to be fighting August 3rd this coming weekend for an amateur title. Also got Justin the Raw Deal Baesman on the show. Just signed a big deal with Bellator. All that information and more. Andre Touchy Fili, West Coast Fighting Featherweight champ. He's going to be unveiling a new segment with us called Ask Touchy. I'll give you all the details and more. But first, UFC on Fox 8 for you guys that didn't get an opportunity to see it. John Moraga stepped up to fight Demetrius Johnson for the UFC title. We are able now to listen to the highlights, and then we'll get into more.
We begin where else with the main event, the flyweight championship clash between the local hero Demetrius Johnson and the number one contender John Moraga and Chael. It was all DJ right out of the chute.
Guys, if you want to move up in the pound-for-pound rankings, you have to have performances like tonight. The one thing we knew for sure was that Moraga was the better wrestler. Wrong. 11 takedowns for DJ says that we were wrong. Almost had a submission there. That was the end of the very first round. We're just getting things going. And here comes the big takedown again. And the thing that the takedowns do is the threat sets up all of his strikes on his feet. It looks like GSP running him over right there.
Yeah.
Taking the All-American wrestler down at will. It was a record takedown. Brian, he got him 11 times.
I can't agree more. In the first round, second round, we saw Moraga do pretty well on the feet. Once these takedowns started coming, Moraga started to second-guess everything, and DJ just began to run away from it. The other thing I saw was the timing of the champion. There was the only flaw in DJ's victory tonight was that shot he took directly on the nose. Here comes round 5. The most impressive thing here, how many guys up 4 rounds to none go for finishes, specifically an armbar? This kid didn't coast to victory. He went and finishes the fight, gets his first finish in the UFC. The most impressive, dominant victory of his career. The champ is getting better.
Now, John Moraga certainly wasn't the better man here tonight, but as Chael articulated here off the air, he certainly was game and remained in the fight. He did have that moment there in the 4th round, but it was all about Demetrius Johnson. His timing impeccable on the takedowns.
He was impeccable on the takedowns. Everyone had touted Moraga as being the guy with the more superior wrestling, thought it might be a challenge for Johnson. He went out there, defeated Moraga with a submission in the final round that snapped a 7-fight win streak for Moraga, but he looked really good in the fight. I mean, it was just Demetrius Johnson looked that much better. His UFC record now, Johnson's 6-1-1. So the guy's looking outstanding. Also on the card, Jake Ellensberger took on Rory McDonald, and let's just say it didn't exactly go well. Let's check out the Fox Sports highlights, and then we'll talk a little bit more.
For our co-main event, it was a bout that had a lot of fans salivating when it was first announced. 2 top 5 welterweights, Rory McDonald and Jake Ellenberger. Bry, ultimately, the hype outweighed the action, but Rory McDonald gets it done here in Seattle.
Well, you know, when you get 2 elite fighters at this level, there's so much respect garnered. And the fact of the matter was that Rory McDonald kept the fight in his range all night, from the first round all the way through, and the story was that jab. That jab found a home all night. Rory McDonald, impressive finish or fight against a guy who is considered elite. This could lead to the next title shot in the welterweight division.
So Rory McDonald, who made his UFC debut at 20 years old, has now won 5 in a row, 15 of his last 16, and you can be sure a lot of people will be talking about Rory as the #1 welterweight contender.
But it's going to be interesting because the fight wasn't necessarily exciting, and everyone knows that the UFC looks for excitement. Justin Baesman, who you'll be hearing later on the 47th episode of the Verbal Scrap podcast, he talked about it. The UFC is looking for finishes. Although Rory McDonald got the win, he improved his record in the UFC to 6-1. It was not necessarily a fan-friendly fight. Rory McDonald talked about the fight, and so did UFC President Dana White. So let's hear more of the post-fight presser from MMA Fighting.
I was focused on the task at hand, and I was waiting for the knockout to come. You know, I was being patient. You know, I think I did the right thing. I wasn't rushing in like a fool or like an amateur fighter. And sometimes knockouts, you know, they take a little bit of time. You got to let it happen. And I wasn't forcing anything, and unfortunately I ran out of time.
When you get these fights where guys talk shit and a lot of stuff goes back and forth, those fights always suck. They really do. I think that, you know, for Ellenberger to go out and say he doesn't deserve to be in the top 10 and then not go out and try to prove that he doesn't deserve to be in the top 10, Ellenberger literally did nothing. His punch stat was close to 0, and, you know, he shot in like the second round maybe one time, and he just literally did nothing. And in my opinion, Rory didn't do anything to try to go in and finish him and try to, you know, to put a stamp on it and make a statement, not only to the world, but, you know, to the guys who are in that division. So that's why people booed, and that's why people were, you know.
It was quite interesting. Jake Ellensberger also commented on his thoughts about what the lackluster fight kind of brought for the fans. And a lot of people expected Ellensberger to step up, considering he was talking about how he wasn't getting as much respect as he thought he deserved. So let's hear Ellenberger's thoughts.
You know, I'm just really, you know, more disappointed in myself, but, you know, wasn't my night, you know. Didn't have a good night and didn't pull the trigger. So I really have nothing to leave it at that, you know.
Well, like I said, it's not going to do very much for either fighter. Both of them were able to, you know, land some quality shots, but nothing too crazy. For you guys that also didn't see the rest of the card, Robbie Lawler defeated Bobby Wagner by KO, head kick and punches in the second, and Liz Carmouche defeated Jessica Andrade by TKO. For you guys that don't know what's coming up now, let me tell you. Ring announcer profile, something new from SRMA.com. We're going to be profiling all the different ring announcers that we come in contact with that have some of the high-quality voices in the business. We were able to talk to Donald Wartime DeNoyer. He was able to drop us his catchphrase as well. So let's hear the scoop from my man Donald.
It's JYSRMA.com. We're talking to Donald DeNoyer. Wanted to learn more about the whole profession of being a ring announcer. I mean, you've been in this game for quite some time. What do you say would be one of the best steps for someone looking to get into the game?
All right, for anybody wanting to get into the game, you know, it's important that you know the sport that you're announcing for. You got to do a lot of studying. You got to make sure that it's something that you're going to enjoy. Keep the crowd engaged at all times, and make sure that you know what you're talking about. Because as soon as you open your mouth, the crowd, you know, they're all pretty savvy at knowing the sport. Mm-hmm. So once you start talking, they're going to know if you know what you're talking about or not.
Well, being in the game for so long, I mean, what do you say are some of the highlight moments, some of the cool events that you've been able to be a part of?
I like all the events. I've announced for so many different events now: UFC, Showtime, HBO, Boxing After Dark. All these different organizations. What I love the most is, like in the amateur division, you get an opportunity to see these young fighters starting their career, and then you get to see them, you know, blossom into these professional fighters and go on to win world titles. It's a great opportunity for me to see them right at the bottom and make their way to the top.
Well, I wanted to ask you, you know, speaking in front of people is very scary for most people. How do you, you know, get in the zone of being able to speak to large crowds like that?
You know, I've been in the entertainment business for a long time as an actor and as a fighter myself. So speaking in front of a lot of people, it's not really a big thing for me. I enjoy it. I love the crowd. Being a war veteran and being somebody in the military and facing a lot of worse obstacles than that. For me, it's the entertainment aspect of it, and I get hyped up just like the fighters do. But the difference is I get to walk in and walk out looking the same.
Also, wanted to ask you, you know, what you've been out there like today. You hear some crazy things from the fans. What's some of the crazier moments you might have had engaging fans in banter or something like that?
sometimes you get the fans that, they've seen you a few times before, and, you get to know them, and it's like a little bit of a family. And they'll come up to the cage, they want to dance with you. They sometimes they'll, you as an announcer, you make a mistake, and you might say something wrong, and you'll get them heckling you. It's all out of fun, and it's all a matter of, the fans, when they show up, they're the boss. And if you got to keep them entertained, and you can't let it get to you. You can't get upset. Sometimes you get angry fans that have had maybe a little bit too much to drink. Their fighter didn't win, and you're up there and you're announcing the winner, but they're blaming you because you're just announcing the information. And you just kind of take it in stride, and you don't let it bother you.
Well, every announcer has their own voice, their own way of putting their personal information out there. What has been some of the tools that you've used to perfect your sound, your voice? What's the tone in which you like to put out as a good cadence towards the crowd?
A lot of it is just voice inflection. It's you're starting out the show in a slow aspect and working your way up and getting up to your catchphrase. I'm probably one of the only announcers that has an opening catchphrase and a closing catchphrase. It's time for the fists to fly. People love it. I come back in, intermission, and I'll usually come back with it. Once again, it's time for the fists to fly. But my catchphrase is pretty dear to me. It's time to go to war. As a military veteran, I had a commander that a couple deployments would always say it's time to go to war. And that commander, he's passed away since, but it was something that stuck with me, and I've been using it for 9 years now. So the fighters love it, and there's only one time that I never used that catchphrase, and that was for a soldier who was a combat veteran who had lost his whole platoon, and his name's Sergio Machado. And out of respect for Sergio Machado, I didn't say it for his title defense. He'd been through enough wars in his lifetime. So, but that's pretty much the only time. It's keeping the crowd going, letting them know, when you're in there, you're the boss, pretty much, because you're controlling the flow of the show. You're controlling whether the crowd's going to be excited or not. And if us as announcers, if we fail at that, then the show doesn't look that good. But it's also knowing that we're there to work for the promotion, to make the promotion look good. We're not the superstars of the show. We're just the voice of the show. We're the one that keeps it going and give the fans something really good to go home to.
Well, without giving too much away, my last question for you: what would you say is the best way to keep longevity in a job like yours, where it's very event to event to event to event?
You just don't piss people off. You don't upset the promoters. You don't ever get to a point or a place where you think that you're better than the promotion. It's staying humble, it's staying free from drama, and it's understanding that you're there to help the show. And that's it. Once you start thinking that you're better than the show, they'll find another announcer. The announcers out there, Bruce Buffer, Michael Buffer, Jimmy Lennon Jr., Chris Gregory, all these guys, I love these guys. They're all great announcers. These are all guys that are willing to help other announcers out in the business to kind of steer them in the right direction. It's not a game. You got a lot of money involved in these shows, and when they hire you, that is the best compliment that an announcer can get. When they hire you, the other compliment is when they hire you back to come back again.
Well, do you have any thanks or shout-outs to people that have helped you along the way before we let you go?
I want to thank Mike McNeil. Mike McNeil has always been there supporting me. He was one of the first guys that really gave me an opportunity or a chance in this business. You've got World Combat Series, Gabe Scarpelli, Gary Shaw Promotions. There's so many out there, but those are the main ones. And I guess if I had to say anything, I just have to say, thanks to my wife and my son at home for putting up with all of my crap all the time, and me being gone and never being around. So I want to thank my family, and also SR MMA. You guys are one of the premier MMA magazines, and you yourself, you do a great job. Great articles, so everybody should tune into your srmma.com.
Well, thank you so much. And last thing, for all the fans that might be listening, can we get a catchphrase? Is that possible?
It kind of costs to do it. Nah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the wait is over. It's time to go to war.
I love it. I can't get enough of it, and I can't wait for more of it. Donald DENOYER, you can find him on Facebook. Any way for people that are interested in getting involved with you or maybe hiring you to get in touch with you?
yeah, you can Facebook me at Donald Wartime DENOYER. You can always find me there, or you can see me, just Google my name, Donald DENOYER. It's not that hard to find me. Wherever there's a show, usually I'm there.
Well, thank you so much for your time, and I look forward to more shows.
Thank you. Have a great day.
For those that didn't have a chance to catch it, recently at World Combat Series, Luis Lightyear Vargas was able to step up and fight Richard Parra, one of the #1 ranked guys by Camo in the state of California, for the title. Now he was able to pull out a submission real quick. He holds 2 titles in World Combat Series. We were able to talk to Luis, so let's hear his thoughts about his big victory.
It's JY from SRMMA.com. We're here with Luis Lightyear Vargas. I wanted to speak to you about recently you were able to defeat Richard Parra, one of the top-rated featherweights. I believe he was #1 at the time in Camo. I mean, what'd you think about that first and foremost?
I think it was a really good fight for me. I knew coming in it was going to be tough. I knew he had a lot of fighting experience and a big background behind him, so I knew if I got this fight and I got the win, it would boost my status up, and it did. So I'm happy for that.
Well, something I wanted to ask you, a lot of guys in the amateur ranks see Richard Parra, and they wouldn't necessarily hop on that fight. What'd you see about that fight that most enticed you?
I love that he was #1. I love fighting hard fights. I love trying to fight someone that I know is a very quality opponent. I fought JJ Okonovich, who was also a quality opponent, and I don't like to back down. So if someone offers me a really good fight, I'm not one to back down. I like to take the hard fights and see what I'm about.
Well, you were, like you said, you were lightweight champion. Were you kind of nervous coming into this being for a featherweight title and maybe being in a different weight class, holding those 2 titles? Was that on your mind when coming into this battle?
The only thing that I was kind of worried about was the weight cut, but I got that done pretty good. Thanks to all my teammates helping me and, staying in the sauna with me and cutting weight and being on my diet. So everything was pretty good on point about that.
Well, what'd you think about Richard Parra once you got in the cage? What'd you think about him as an opponent, what he was able to bring your way, kind of how the fight went and the finish itself?
The fight was pretty good. I had my game plan. It was just, finish it as fast as I can because I know he does have a hard punch. He hit me. I felt it, and, I didn't want to get hit again, so I try to just finish it as fast as I can. And he got on top of me, and I tried to reverse him, and I ended up choking him with the teepee, and, it turned out pretty good because he didn't really know what was coming. It was kind of unexpected, but, yeah, it was a good fight.
Well, like you said, you're going to be fighting sort of the regionals. You want to make your way to the state championships. I mean, what are you hoping that these two fights recently and title fights boost your confidence moving into these championships?
Yeah, I think it's going to help me a lot. I'm very confident in fighting and winning right now. I'm 4-0 and, first ranked #1 in California, so that helps me just, to think about it. But at the same time, you got to, still train as hard and not let that get to your head. So I'm just training every day hard with my team and helping them push me and all that good stuff.
Well, last thing, you have any thanks or shout-outs before we let you go, man?
I want to thank you. I want to thank WCS for helping me, get this fight. My coaches, my teammates, everyone, my family, everyone who came out to watch, and everyone who's supporting fighting, and everyone that's trying to help save Olympic wrestling. That's a big thing to me because wrestling is my background, and I love it. And without it, I don't know where I'd be.
Well, you can find more coverage at SRMA.com. I want to thank you, a multiple-time champion now. Thank you so much for your time, Luis.
Thank you.
Coming up in San Francisco on August 24th, Dragon House is going to be putting on another spectacle at the Kazar Pavilion. You can check out DragonHouseMMA.com for more information. J.R. Lugo is going to be making his second professional fight there. We were able to talk to the former amateur champion about his first pro debut down in Cali, Mexico, and what he's going to be doing now August 24th at Dragon House. So let's now hear J.R. Lugo's thoughts.
It's JY from SRMA.com. We're here talking to J.R. Lugo. You're going to be fighting August 24th, your second pro fight. I wanted to first ask you, now that you've had time to think about your first pro fight, what do you take from it? What was the most enjoyable for you?
The most enjoyable thing about it is that I actually got to fight in Mexico, and it's my mom's hometown of Mexicali, Baja California, and a lot of my family got to go see. A lot of family that cannot cross over and see me in the States actually got to see me in action.
Well, I mean, being there to kind of blend those two countries that may not be able to see you at any particular time, what did that mean to you to be able to do that?
Oh, it meant it was an experience of a lifetime because, I came over, I opened up that door, that relationship for fighters from here to go over there because a lot of people and trainers and fighters, they really never gone to Mexico and all they hear is negativity about it. So, it's a positive experience. It was a good venue. Cage Gladiators is a good organization, a good promotion. It's run very legit. and I kind of feel like the pioneer trying to open that door. Maybe not for the bigger promotions, but at least for the smaller ones.
What would you feel about the fight itself? You know, the way you were able to handle yourself.
I took the fight on 10 days' notice. I had sparred with the guy a couple of years prior. I was surprised when I got the call. They actually wanted to fight a buddy of mine. They asked me if he would take the fight, and I go, he's not ready. So the guy goes, what about you? And I told the promoter, he would actually fight me? He goes, yeah. But the thing is, it was a 10-day notice. They didn't think I was going to be on weight. But I was living in Vegas at the time, and I had been training, you know, pretty good. And I took the fight on 10-day notice. They had no idea what they were in for.
Well, you know, coming into this one, what do you take from your first pro experience into your second fight?
5-minute rounds is a lot longer than 2 and 3 minute rounds. I had the first fight. I went the distance once in 6 or 7 amateur fights. And then 2-3 minutes ain't nothing. But I couldn't knock the guy out. I broke his nose. I busted his eye the first 2 rounds. But after 10 minutes, I was kind of tired. So third round, I did a little GSP, took him down and laid on him. You know, why lie? I'm not gonna lie. But I won unanimous decision. Thank God.
Well, I had a few more things for you. What do you think your second pro fight is going to bring you? You know, you're going to be fighting for Dragon House. They've been able to put on some highly publicized fights in the Bay Area, and you're going to be fighting in San Francisco, closer to home.
I think it's going to be an awesome experience. I've been training with Josh Koscheck, D-Throne Base Camp in Fresno. I train at Fighters Corner in Salinas. You know, I have a big fan base for only having going into my second pro fight. I thank God for that, and I think it's going to be an awesome event. You know, I have a good relationship with Zong, the promoter, and I think it's going to open up a lot of eyes of people that haven't seen me fight before. Because when you're an amateur, sometimes they don't take you serious, they don't look at you. But once you fight on a pro level, you open the eyes of people that might not look at you when you're amateur. And I'm pretty sure being in San Francisco, which is a big city, you know, it's going to be a good event.
Well, last thing before I let you go, for the fans that haven't seen you yet, I mean, what would you say they should expect coming on August 24th?
Oh, you already seen my fights, buddy, and you know it ain't nothing but fireworks. My fights do not disappoint, and I know this guy's a brawler, and I'm actually happy. This is the first time I'm going to fight a guy that's shorter than me, because I'm only 6 feet tall, and it's going to go down. That's what I'm going to say. It's a can't-miss event. The general admission price itself is this fight alone is worth it.
Well, last thing before we let you go, you have any thanks or shout-outs?
Yeah, I got a shout-out to, D-Throne Base Camp in Fresno, Fighters Corner Salinas, Lethal Body Parts, Max Fit Sports Nutrition Salinas, 831 Shooter, Gold's Gym, all my friends, family that support me, all my loyal fans, and I want to thank God, for the family I have that helps me out, and that's pretty much it.
Well, you can find more ticket information at Dragon House website or at srma.com. I want to wish you the best of luck. We'll be there to watch you live, and I want to thank you for your time, JR.
Thank you, buddy. Have a good one.
Also on the same card, former state camo champion in the amateur ranks, Joe 9 Lives Neal, is going to be making his professional MMA debut at the Dragon House fights as well. We were able to catch up with Joe 9 Lives, so let's hear his thoughts.
It's JY from srma.com. We're here live at Media Day talking to Joe 9 Lives Neal. You're going to be making your pro debut soon. I mean, what's preparation been like for you?
Oh man, preparation been great. I had my last amateur fight in December, so I'll make my pro debut August 24th for Dragon House, and I just been ready. I finally received my purple belt for jiu-jitsu, and everybody know my stand-up and wrestling is really great already. So I'm just ready to showcase my skills and show everybody I'm on another level.
Well, I've been noticing, obviously, on your Facebook throughout the past couple months, you've been getting a lot of recognition. I've been seeing you a lot of places on TV and stuff like that. I mean, how's that been for you? And a lot of people taking a little bit of notoriety in your story and kind of giving you a little bit more respect for that.
It's great, man. I'm not the type of person that want to come off with a sad story, but people do know my background and my history, and I can't say nothing about that. If people want to tune into that, that's great. Everybody have stories and everybody go through things in life. So, I just hope the best for everybody. But at the end of the day, man, I'm just focused on becoming a professional MMA fighter now and just going on a run. I want to go on a run 3-4-0 in 2013.
Well, being that this fight's going to be in San Francisco, you're obviously from in the Bay Area. You're going to have probably, I would say, 10,000 fans there, right? What is this going to mean to you to be making that pro debut with such a support?
Honestly, man, this is a dream come true. If you would have asked me 4 years ago what I'd be doing today, it would have been something totally opposite. I wasn't even training at that time. I didn't even think of MMA. But for me to start training and become the athlete I am today and who I am today and the person I am today, it's just unbelievable, man, how a person can change so much. And like I said, dreams do come true. And I'm just excited to showcase everything in front of my family, my friends, and people who don't even know me yet. So I'm very excited.
Well, last thing I wanted to ask you, if you could look back at yourself, 5 years ago, you might not have believed where you'd be today. What would you tell yourself then, and what might you tell people in a similar situation that maybe want to go for a change?
All I can say is just stay course and just try to keep a positive attitude and be in the right environments and give your life to God at the end of the day. It's about Christ and, trying to do the right thing. There ain't nobody perfect, but at the end of the day, as long as we all trying to become better people, that's all that matters.
We can find more coverage at srma.com. Check out the Dragon House website for August 24th ticket information. I want to congratulate you for your pro debut, and I wish you the best of luck, my friend.
Oh, thank you. And I just want everybody to be on the lookout for Joe 9 Lives Neal, and I'm coming, and for whoever and whenever, I don't care who I fight. Thank you.
For all you fans that don't know, Tough 18, the Ultimate Fighter, has Team Ronda Rousey pitted against Team Miesha Tate. The first fight was epic, with Rousey eventually winning by armbar, obviously. But for you guys that don't know, coming up real soon, Tough 18 is going to be on air. They definitely do not like each other. And now it's going to be a war of words, and you're going to get to watch this for an entire season. So let's now check out the official UFC trailer.
On this season of The Ultimate Fighter.
I'm here to coach. You're here to coach? For some reason, fate has intertwined the two of us. Yeah. Me and Miesha were meant to be rivals. They say she's here to coach.
This is a monumental season, for the first time ever, women will be competing on The Ultimate Fighter. And not only that, but we're doing 135-pound women and 135-pound men.
6 o'clock, you know the schedule. Rhonda is kind of sour pants a lot. She's gonna pay for every smile she smirks today.
This will be the biggest coach rivalry ever in the history of the UFC. Great fight.
Premiering September 4th. For you guys that don't know, check out UFC.com for more of that information. That might be the most dramatic show you will find on television, and it's got to be huge for the UFC ratings. And I'm also interested in seeing Miesha Tate going up against Ronda Rousey one more time. And it looked like from the trailer that Ronda Rousey seemed quite emotional, quite perturbed by most of the things going on the episode. So you got to check that out. Like I said, premiering September 4th. Now, for you guys that don't know, recently Ariel Helwani of MMA Fighting had an interesting interview with Jorge Masvidal, and he had some interesting things to say about some of the top lightweights in the industry. So let's now hear a snippet of that conversation.
Fight at UFC on Fox 8 alongside Jorge Masvidal, who just submitted Michael Chiesa with 1 second remaining in the second round. And Jorge, congratulations on a win. Early on, he dropped you. It looked like things might get dicey. How did you regroup?
That just pissed me off, man. I was so mad when I realized what happened when I was on my butt on the single leg. I was like, oh, man, you're in for a world of trouble if I get out of here. And I was just saying to myself, if he doesn't put me to sleep right here, right now, I'm going to get him. And I got him.
How much did that hurt you?
It didn't hurt me. It just stunned me. I thought he was going for a shot, and I started dropping my levels, and boom, he just threw it, and it was a perfect shot. He did like a level change and threw it, and it was beautiful, and he caught me.
So that really turned on a switch in you, because after that, it looked like you were completely different. You were a lot more aggressive.
Yeah, I was trying to rip his head off. I wanted to take his head home with me, and I didn't get to do that, but close enough.
Speaking of that head, how much did the beard bother you?
Oh, it didn't bother me. Though I had complained in the past because I'd seen his beard out to here. It was reasonable today. It was nothing. It was cool today, Just when I seen him before, it's been out of this world, So today wasn't bad at all,
Why didn't you file a complaint? You said you were thinking of having him shave it.
Well, we filed a complaint 2 months ago, so he wouldn't have it out to here, Okay. That was the reason why,
Yesterday, it seemed like you had some trouble making weight. What happened?
A couple things happened, but the main thing was
just the time frame. I thought I'd lose I woke up with about 6 pounds to go, and I usually do it in about an hour and a half. And I don't know, my body just wasn't letting it go, and 2 hours passed and we had to go already. If I would have had another 25, 30 minutes, I would have made the weight. I came back in at 155 on the dot. It was just bad timing on my part, you know.
Back to the win, you submitted him, like I said, with just 1 second remaining. Only time that's ever happened in the second round was Chan Sung Jung, his twister submission win. Did you know that there was just 1 second? Were you hoping, all right, I got him, hopefully?
I heard the click, and I was like, man, I got it locked. I better not just waste time. And I started cranking, and I thought he went limp for a second, but I don't know if he was just like trying to wear it off. And I was like, man, I just got to put everything into it. And I started squeezing, and the referee was already over me. I didn't know if he was gonna stop because he was tired or because the bell was over. But before I know it, I felt the tap. I was like, okay, I got it. You know.
What does this do for Jorge Masvidal? Where does this put you in the division?
Hopefully it puts me somewhere in the division, man. Give me some top 5 guys. These guys are overrated, and I'm here to bring the truth to the light. You know what I'm saying?
He believes that some of the top 5 guys in the UFC's lightweight division are overrated. He looked real good in his fight, but wish him the best of luck in the buzzsaw that is the UFC lightweight division. You're here on the 47th episode of the Verbal Scrap podcast entitled The Machine. You can check us out on iTunes, download us for free, subscribe, or on Twitter at SRMMA Tweets. You can tweet us anything, including what's coming up next, a hashtag Ask Touchy. You'll be able to get in contact with SRMMA and Touchy Fili, the West Coast Fighting Champion, for our new segment. And you can find us on Facebook, facebook.com/SRMMA. This episode is brought to you by One Fit Body. You can check out onefitbody.net for more information about the gym that they have out in El Dorado Hills. It's a full-service facility for people interested in weight training or physical therapy. Like I said, onefitbody.net for more information. For you guys that don't know, Andre Touchy Fili going to be fighting Max Payne Griffin in October. SRMMA was able to break that news, and we were able to catch up with Andre and more, unveiling our new segment. So let's hear Mr. Touchy Fili. It's Jay Watt from SRMMA.com. We're on the Verbal Scrap podcast talking to the West Coast Fighting Featherweight Champion, Andre Touchy Fili. I hear you're going to be making us a bowel movement today on air. How you doing today, sir?
I am, yeah. I'm currently sitting on the toilet. I'll be upstairs in a trap mansion, my humble abode.
Now, is this part of your cutting weight process?
Mostly it's just so I can pass all the horrible things I did over the weekend out of my body.
Well, speaking of what you might be doing horrible to your body, in October, you're going to be in another championship fight. You're going to be fighting one of the highly touted guys around here, Max Payne Griffin, at the 170 weight class for a title. A lot of people were surprised by your interest in potentially fighting those guys. I know it has to do somewhat with your wanting to get into the UFC and get more exposure, but what was your big thought process going against a guy like Max?
Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot for I feel like for me to do in the region right now, and I think it'll be a big fight for Sacramento and a big fight for the local NorCal fight scene. And Max is a great guy, he's a great champion, and I think it'll just be a good test for me and and for him as well. I think just make a lot of noise. That's really what I wanted to do. I didn't, it's not like a personal thing or. It's not like there's no bad blood really on my end, and it's just about making some noise. Like I think we have the 2 biggest names right now in Sacramento as far as the local circuit goes, and so why not make some noise?
Well, like I said, you're going to be fighting Max. This one's going to put you have an opportunity to get 2 different West Coast titles. You're really one of the first guys to ever do that. I mean, what do you think it would be to have the featherweight title and the 170 title, considering most of these fans are usually discussing the weight difference? Could you kind of explain, the weight you normally walk around at and how it's not going to be that big a deal for you?
I don't know if I can disclose exactly how big I walk around at just because I'm embarrassed. But I'll tell you this, if I had to make 170 right now, I think you cut a little.
Well, coming into this one, I mean, what do you think about the matchup itself? A lot of guys find you guys similar. Then you ask some people, they find you completely different. I mean, what do you think about the 2 styles you guys bring to the cage?
I personally do not think that we fight similar at all. I think that's what makes the fight interesting. I think if we fought similar, it wouldn't be as exciting of a fight. I think we both fight very different, and that's what's going to make the fight one to watch because we're very different. I think that we're both well-rounded, but we like to utilize different things. We like to do different things and use different techniques, and I think we just fight different. We have different styles, in my opinion, and I think that's what makes it for an exciting fight. I'm going to try and do what I want to do, and he's going to try and do what he wants to do, and the winner gets to do what they want. The winner gets to impose their will and and be the winner. So,
Well, we're here on the Verbal Scrap Podcast talking to the featherweight champion, West Coast Fighting, Andre "Touchy" Fili. I wanted to ask you one more question about Max. When I spoke to him earlier, he said he had an opportunity to see you fight in your younger days, and he thought it would be really awesome to fight you after he saw you finish somebody, and then you went to a different weight class, and he didn't think that fight was ever going to happen. So he's kind of amped up to fight you because he was looking forward to it. I mean, what do you think about guys that see you and want to fight you just based on the way you're able to finish guys?
I think it's cool, man. I think it's all. It probably has to do with simulation theory or laws of attraction or whatever it is that you believe in. You get what you ask for. If you put something out, if you I'm a big believer in willing, like your willpower creates the things around you, and if you ask for something and you put the vibes out, then you usually get it. We attract the things that we want in our life. If you think about something and you work hard for it, then it usually comes. I've seen Max fight. I actually never considered fighting Max until recently, but I had brought it up, and he said he had thought a time ago, and so now it's happening. So yeah, you get what you ask for. I think it's going to be a badass fight. I think we're both talented and we're both hungry to take the next step. I think the winner of this fight, regardless of whatever the hell happens, I think the winner of this fight is going to make some noise. And people have to be listening to this fight, even if you're not excited about it, or you think it's a bad idea on my part, or you don't think it proves anything, or even if you hate the idea of it. I think people are at least going to pay attention to it. Whether you love the fact that we're fighting or you hate the fact that me and Max are fighting and I'm going up 2 weight classes, people are going to take notice. So that's good.
Well, that brings us to a new segment we like to unleash on the Verbal Scrap Podcast, the Ask Touchy segment. You can hit us up at SRMMA Tweets anytime with the hashtag AskTouchy, and you'll be able to get a chance to get your question heard by Andre "Touchy" Fili on a new segment. I wanted to ask you first, zombies have invaded the earth. You get to pick 3 people on your fight team. Who's it going to be and why?
3 people on my fight team. I'm going to need some comedic relief. Because of it's a pretty hairy situation. I need some comedic relief. I'm going to go with my friend Billy Galloway. He won Junior Olympics at Taekwondo,
awesome.
So he can hold his own. He can hold his own, but that was many years ago. Since then he's been getting shit-faced and doing recreational drugs. So he's kind of a mess. He's hilarious. He's a wild card. I'm going to throw that one out first. He's a wild card. I'm going to take Billy Galloway. We call him Billy. We call him Bill Dog, and then we started calling him Trill Dog. And he's got about 1,000 nicknames. He's a wild nutcase. If you ever partied with him, he'll end up getting naked by the end of the party and doing the splits and creeping people out and spilling things and peeing.
So he might creep the zombies away from you.
Right? Yeah. If anything, yeah. Exactly. He who knows what role he's going to play. I just need him there. He's going to be the comedic relief. He's on own, and he's a wreck. So I mean, he'll fit in perfectly. Zombie apocalypse.
You got 2 more people.
Friends. I gotta have him. I got 2 more, right?
2 more. Who you got?
Okay, I need a hot girl to bang, obviously, because well, whatever.
But would you bring one you knew, or would you bring like a celebrity?
Yeah, I'm gonna bring a celebrity. If I have 3 people, right? You didn't specify. I have 3 people.
You have 3 people. You can bring any 3 people you want.
Yeah. Okay. So we got Billy. After Billy, I'll bring I'm going to go back. I'm going to bring Heather Locklear in her prime. Fuck that. I'll take Heather Locklear now. I'll take Heather Locklear right now, how she is right now.
Don't need prime.
Don't give a shit. It's post-apocalyptic zombie hell everywhere. It doesn't matter if she has wrinkles. I'll take Heather Locklear right now.
Grade B beef exists, okay? It's allowed.
Okay. I'll pick her now. Let's get weird with it. I'll take her right now.
So you got Billy. You got current Heather Locklear. Who's your final person you're taking into the zombie apocalypse?
We got Billy, we got Heather. Who's the 3rd person? That's hard. I guess I'll take you. I mean, I need someone to cover everything. If we make this out alive, we need someone.
So we need documentation.
Record things. We need things to record things. For posterity.
You need me to record basically all the adventures of Andre, Billy, and Heather Locklear in Zombie Apocalypse Land. Is what you're telling me?
Right, exactly. Yeah, what happens if we survive this shit? People are going to want to know, you know what I mean? People are going to want to fucking know, and that's where you come in. You're like, hey, I got recordings, I got podcasts, I got a couple articles I wrote about.
Wait till you hear what happened when the lights went out.
Right, exactly.
Next question.
Weird, man.
We don't want you to, ever feel like you have to drop your parents at all for this question. But if you had the opportunity to pick 2 different celebrities to be your parents, what 2 celebrities would you pick?
2 celebrities I'd pick. I would pick. See, it's hard because I feel like the only girl celebrities I know are girl celebrities I want to bang. So I don't want to pick a celebrity I want like the one in my head when you say celebrities, like girls that I really want to bang. Like I don't want to pick that for my mom. Like that'd be horrible.
Yeah, that'd be like the worst experience ever.
Right. Yeah.
And you couldn't talk to your friends about it.
Having a mom you know you're not related to, and you just have this fucking sexual desire towards, you would feel like the worst. It's like the worst human being ever. Like, God. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to mom. I'm gonna pick dad first. My dad would have to be The Rock.
Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah. My actual dad and my stepdad, for that matter, are kind of like The Rock. They're just big Samoan dudes, but they're not as young as The Rock. The Rock would be like a dad who could go do some bad.
Are you hoping he'd do like a Will Smith thing with you and like bring him in your movies and stuff like that?
Yeah, I can't wait, honestly. I want him to be my personal trainer. Like The Rock's the kind of guy. The Rock is just like my biological dad, except with like a lot less of a criminal record, and he's got a lot more inspiring of a story. So I'm gonna take The Rock. I'll take The Rock as my dad, and I will take as my mom. Celebrity am I not attracted to?
Betty White.
I guess. No, too old. I gotta have a fun. Betty White's pretty spry, but I gotta have a fun mom. Plus, the idea of The Rock and Betty White banging creeps me out.
I totally agree.
I think he'd kill her. I think he'd kill her, honestly.
You definitely have to go to the ER. I would think so.
I'm in a weird mood. I'm Heather Locklear again. I'm gonna sit there Heather Locklear again. I like Heather Locklear. Yeah.
Wait, so if you took the current Heather Locklear for the zombie apocalypse, would you take prime Heather Locklear for mom?
As mom, yeah. I just amp up the sexual frustration, the weird sexual frustration in the family. I'll take Heather Locklear in her prime as my mother, and then years later, when she's aged, the zombie apocalypse will hit. Yeah.
Well, final question for Ask Touchy. And by the way, if you want to go ahead and ask Touchy a question, tweet us at SRMA Tweets, hashtag Ask Touchy. You can even hit up Touchy Fili on Twitter as well. Send us your question. We will definitely go ahead and get it on the air. Last question for you. Are you prepared for this, my friend?
I hope so.
Okay. You are going with, and now it actually works out perfectly fine. Say it's a prime Heather Locklear. Now I have a perfect example. You're going to go raw dog. You're definitely getting an STD. What's it going to be?
What STD am I going to get?
You are forced to get an STD. What's it going to be?
I'm forced to get STD. A guy, raw dog Heather Locklear, who was my mom when she was young and then was my zombie apocalypse mate.
Which I chronicled that, by the way.
And I raw dogged her. Okay, I mean, honestly, at this point, like, wasn't she with, like, Tommy Lee and, like, some other scumbags? Like, she definitely has something, probably, right?
Definitely. That's why I'm saying, in this scenario, you're going to catch one.
Yeah.
So you can either go with curable, I assume, because you still want to have a vibrant career.
Okay, can I make one up? Can I make an STD? Okay.
I'd be interested to hear what you make up.
I'll keep it simple. If I have to catch a real-life STD, I don't know, fucking chlamydia or gonorrhea, something easy. Let's get rid of that shit immediately. Penicillin, let's get out of there. You know what I mean?
Let's get this over with. I just want the story.
I don't want something something's going to stick with me for a while. If I get to make one up, I want an STD where my pee glows like neon colors, right? My pee glows like neon colors. And if I don't release, like if I don't, for any reason, if I don't pee, like, I don't know, every... we'll say if I don't pee a certain amount every, 12 hours, I'll just fucking become highly combustible, and any amount of friction will make me just explode. I'll just explode like neon piss across everywhere.
But what if you use this neon pee like an Andy Warhol painting type thing? Like, you could sell artwork with your neon pee on canvases.
There's definitely a career in it, for sure. Yeah, there's definitely a career. But bottom line, it's got to come out of me, or else any amount of friction, I'll pop like a fucking balloon. You know what I mean?
Well, how about this? If you could go ahead and tweet out to your friends the name of this STD, we will totally retweet it at SRMA Tweets.
I will. Let me think of it. Undiscovered. That's a big burden. To name your own STD is a big burden. I can't.
It's a lot of pressure. It's yours. Like Lou Gehrig's disease. Right. It's going to have your name on it forever. You got to be very careful with what you got. And neon pee sounds dangerous. I'd like to once again
I'll give it some thought.
Tell everyone that you can get your questions to Touchy Fili. Just tweet us with the hashtag AskTouchy, and we will definitely try and get it on the next segment. I want to thank you so much for your time and give you an opportunity to give thanks and shout-outs, my friend.
Hell yeah, let's do it. I want to thank Team Alpha Male.
I want to thank Patino Diet. I want to thank Leviathan Tattoo. I want to thank Lucky's Barbershop. I want to thank PLA Skateboarding. I want to thank Gold Country Bail Bonds for bailing me out of jail when I was 19. I think that's it for right now. My friends, family, everybody, tweet me questions, make it weird. Let's do some cool stuff.
Well, there you go. Verbal Scrap Podcast, episode 47. I want to thank you again for your time, Andre, and I look forward to watching you fight in October. For those of you interested in getting involved with SRMMA.com, contributing, writing, taking photography in any way, you can email me directly, jw@srmma.com. Interested in advertising, sales, anything like that, you can email info@srmma.com for more. Big Bellator news, Bellator 100, going to be happening September 20th. Justin the Raw Deal Baesman, coming off his War MMA victory, now going to be in the welterweight tournament for Bellator. We were able to catch up with Justin, so now let's hear his thoughts. It's JW of SRMMA.com. We're on the Verbal Scrap Podcast talking to Justin, the Raw Deal Baesman. How are you doing today, my friend?
Good, man. Thanks for having me back on.
Hey, thank you so much for being our guest. Congratulations on your fantastic news. You recently signed with Bellator. That's a huge accomplishment. I wanted to, tell you congratulations, and it's a big honor to have you on our show, and I really, I'm really grateful to be able to watch you rise and get to the top like that. Congrats, man.
Oh, man, thank you. Hold on, sorry about that, man. Let me get out of here. Yeah, ever since I signed with them, man, I haven't stopped smiling. My cheeks hurt, man. Fired up.
Well, you're going to be fighting Friday, September 20th. You're going to be on Bellator's 100th show. What does that mean to you to be involved with those guys and be on one of their biggest shows that they're ever going to have?
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. I'm thankful. I feel I worked really hard. I came a long way, and I honestly feel like I deserve a shot. You know what I'm saying? I really feel that way. I worked my ass off. I trained hard. I fought some really good guys, and just been working my way to the top. And I feel like I finally get that chance to shine. So I've been training like crazy. I'm going there and show the world what I'm made of.
Well, you're going to be fighting Brent Weidman. He's a guy who's been able to pick up 3 wins in his last 4 fights. He's also been able to pick up wins in a variety of different ways. Seems very talented. I mean, have you had the opportunity to check out his record or any of his fights?
Yeah, I've been doing my homework kind of guy. And it's like somebody like that. He's also cut down to 155 and fought in the tournament and almost won the whole thing. He lost by split decision. So, I mean, in my eyes, he's one of the toughest guys on the tournament. So to fight him right off the gates is great, and that proves a lot. And not only will I show that I belong there if I get that W, but everybody will really look at me in a different light.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is going to be part of the welterweight quarterfinals, correct?
Yes, it's the welterweight.
Well, I mean, that's got to be huge for you, considering the tournament's got some of the biggest names that the Bellator's been able to put together, plus, $100,000 purse, a chance at the title. I mean, without going past Weidman and all that stuff, I mean, what do you think about just being involved with the tournament and the spectacle?
Oh, man, it's huge. Like I said, I can't stop smiling, man. I can't stop training. I have to force myself to leave the gym. I forget that I have a job. I forget that I have a life. I get into the gym, and I'm just like, I'm soaking it all up, man. But I'm ready for it. I'm really ready, and I'm thankful. And if I can get through the whole tournament, that'd be awesome. And of course, that's my goal, just like the rest of these guys. But I'm so hungry. My hunger pains never went away, not even for a minute. And I don't think they ever will until I hang them up. I think I have a little bit of edge over most of these fighters. I've been through a lot. I've seen a lot, and I know how to hold on to that hunger pain. I'm climbing up the hill. They say the guy on the top of the hill and the guy on the bottom of the hill, the guy on the bottom of the hill is hungrier. Even though I'm climbing all the way up, I'm still on the bottom of the hill, and I might even be in the hole. That's how damn hungry I am. You know what I'm saying? So I'm trying it, and I'm giving it everything I got, and everything's coming together inside and outside the cage. Everything's on point right now, and I still got a little under 2 months to get ready. So, I mean, in all honesty, I could probably go another week of training and be ready. So I got so much time to prepare for this fight, and I'm just soaking it all in. And this is such a great opportunity, and I'm so excited. I'm so for everybody that's helped me get here, and I can't stop thinking about it for a second. It's hard to focus to do anything else.
Well, I mean, being involved with Bellator has to be great. I know you had a lot of options on your plate. I mean, what was the original, or what was determining factor in the end kind of brought you to Bellator? I mean, what do you like about the organization? What about the deal looked good to you?
Well, with Bellator, it seems like it's more realistic for me to make a home there. Because don't get me wrong, everybody wants to go to the UFC, but if you're not doing exactly what the UFC wants, you get kicked out like you're nobody. And those are some of the greatest guys, and I'm not trying to knock UFC. They have that power. They can grab anybody from anywhere. Everybody wants to be there, so they have that option. And it's not like they're trying to be personal. It's all business with them, and they're doing great. And so is Bellator. But with Bellator, if you're in there doing good, putting on a good show, and they want to keep you there. They want to make you part of Bellator's home, and that's the kind of feeling, and that's a great feeling. So I'm going to the tournament feeling like I belong there. And that brings a little more confidence to my fight game.
Well, I just had two more things for you. One, your last fight against Daniel Roberts. I remember I texted you. I happened to be talking with just random people who happened to be talking about War MMA, and like, man, that Justin Baesman guy. He looked better than I thought, or better than I knew. What do you think that a lot of people that saw the War MMA fight and saw how you were able to come back from being in dire straits to win that fight? I mean, what do you think that did for you?
Yeah, no, that fight was huge for me, and my crew, 5150, all my people. That was huge for us. A lot of recognition on that. A lot of people seen that fight. They had the live viewing you could watch, and even on YouTube. If you go on YouTube, put in Justin Baesman versus Daniel Roberts, it's got almost 6,000 views so far. I mean, it kind of blew me up, And my Twitter wouldn't be quiet. I think my Twitter was on fire for a little bit. I had put it out, and it's like I was left and right, So that was really good for me, and that fight did show a lot, because I've been in trouble a couple of times in my career in a fight. Like, for example, when I fought Keto Andrews. Keto Andrews got a good shot, and I went into autopilot. But my training wasn't 100%, my mental wasn't 100%, so I couldn't come out of autopilot quick enough. But with Daniel Roberts, he caught my kick and threw a good punch, and I was in autopilot. But I was 100% mental, 100% physical, and I came right back. And I just, sometimes you can function well on autopilot, and sometimes you can't. If you're truly prepared for a fight, I think you can get through pretty much anything. And a lot of people tell me I have really big heart, and I believe it, and I believe in myself. So I knew no matter what, going into that fight, I needed that fight way more than Daniels did. I needed that. I would train way more than he was. I know it. And it proves afterwards. He tried to give me everything he got in the first round. He was exhausted. Honestly, I probably could have won another round. And, but I had to survive a hell of it. And he was really good. He was a really good fighter, man. He was in the UFC for a reason. Because I remember the second round, I think anybody else would have been put away. I got him with a really good stand-up combination, kick 1-2 with the takedown, and also had him trapped in the corner for a long time, just beating on him. A lot of people can't take that, So mad props to Daniel Roberts, and that was a great fight. I think it helped a lot in my career, and it made people really see what I'm about. But that's really only the beginning. Once I get to Bellator, I'm going to do my best to finish these guys. And because in the region, I wasn't too worried about if I finish or not. It's just getting in there, doing the best I can, trying to stay safe, but also trying to get a knockout or trying to get a submission. But I didn't really put too much pressure on myself and went to the judges. Every time I went to the judges, I knew I was going to get it. Yes, I was kind of like hoping for the best, but in my heart, I knew, because I'm counting as I'm fighting. I'm looking at the whole fight, and I'm judging it myself, But yeah, that fight did a lot for me, but it's only the beginning. When I get to Bellator, I'm really going to get it, and I can bank on that.
Well, that's the final question I wanted to ask you. I don't want to lead you too much, but like you said, your last few fights, you've been able to pull out those big decision wins. They've been close, and in Bellator, it's a tournament style, so, it behooves you to not be injured and be able to stay healthy for the longevity of the tournament. So coming into this, I mean, are there any particular ways you're looking to maybe change your style and try to become more of a finisher early on in the fight, or what are you looking to do differently when you get into this Bellator cage?
Well, first, the reason I think I have an advantage over most of these fighters when it comes to this tournament is I stay really active. I almost fought 3 times in 1 month. I love it to keep going. I feel like I have good momentum, and, I take pretty good care of myself. I haven't really got any major injuries, thank God. And I feel like these guys might be like, oh, no, I'm not healed up yet, or, I still got to train a little more, but I'm ready. I'm always ready, so I have that little advantage. The back fights, that's perfectly fine with me. My body's used to that. I've been doing that. And what I'm going to do different is I'm going to really take advantage of my cardio. Everybody knows me for my cardio, and I got really good cardio. So I'm going to go in there and just full blast. Full blast first round, full blast second round. If they can live through that, then damn, they belong in that damn tournament, you know. But I'm able to go full blast for 3 rounds, you know, and I've never done that before. But that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to put it all on the line the first round. If they survive that, I'm going to put it all on the line the second round. You know, that's what I'm going to do a little different this time, is I'm going to really go for the kill right away. I know everybody wants to see a good finish. You know, it's like before it's like, yeah, you know, I want to get a KO and I want to get a submission. But now it's I got to get a KO. I got to get a submission. I got to get a finish. I'm putting that pressure on myself harder than anybody else is. You know, I really feel that pressure, and I'm okay with that. You know, I'm okay with the pressure. I'm okay if I'm the underdog. I'm okay with any of that. I'm mentally strong when it comes to that. So I'm going to come into the fight trying to finish right away and just add it balls to the wall, because I know my cardio is going to back me up. So I'm not really worried about anything. I've been studying Weidman. I'm taking this tournament one fight at a time. So I'm coming after Weidman. If it's people's listening, or Weidman, you're listening, I suggest you train your ass off, because I am.
Well, last thing, you have any thanks or shout-outs before we let you go? And I apologize, I'm not there to read your shirt this time, my man.
No, I know, it's all good, brother. You know, of course, I want to shout out to 5150 Fightwear, Riley, Vic, Leo, you guys, man. I couldn't do it without you guys. Dave from MMA Gold, Buy Me Mouth Guards, and Kenny, Fight Core, Blood Happens, Iron Pit, Get Some, MMA KO, Liquid Nitro, Vasili's MMA Gear. I want to thank all you guys, Creative Vision Printing, my friends, my family, all you fighters out there that have been backing me up. You know, all my training partners have been helping me. I can't thank all of you enough. You know, but you can't walk into the cage alone. You know, even when I'm training alone, you guys with me, and I appreciate it. You know, I couldn't have done it without you guys. I honestly can't thank you guys enough, man. So once I get up there, I'm gonna keep working my way to the top. And once I get some good money in my pockets, I'm gonna start spreading it out, throwing it in the air to you guys, and we're all gonna be happy about this. But mark my words, I'm gonna give it everything I got to get as high as I can in this damn sport.
Well, Bellator 100 going down September 20th in Phoenix, Arizona. You can find tickets when they become available at Bellator.com or Ticketmaster.com. And always check out SRMA.com for more coming details. Justin, I want to thank you so much for your time. You're always very kind with your time with the SRMA podcast. I really appreciate it, and I wish you the best of luck.
Yeah, I wish you guys the best of luck as well. You know, I thank you guys as well. You guys always been there for me, always been helping me out. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate it, and I appreciate your time as well, man. Thank you, John.
Recently, SRMMA.com was able to cover the Central Coast Throwdown event. It took place on the 27th of July. We were able to catch up with James Spear, who won a really close split decision victory, and he discussed his 559 fights KO as well. So let's hear Mr. Spear.
It's JWF from SRMA.com. We're here live at CC Throwdown. Post-fight victorious James Spear, you're able to get the split decision. You had some time to reflect now. What do you think about the fight?
I think it was a good fight. I think it was a close fight. There was a lot more wrestling than I expected. Mm-hmm. And I expected to be a little more dominant. But I'm happy with the win. I felt like it was accurately scored. I felt like I was able to sweep a few takedowns and stuff a few takedowns and spend majority time on top as a busy top position.
Well, you were able to, open the fight, dictating the pace. The second round, it kind of changed for you. How did you go about flipping it back around in the third and kind of dictating where the fight went?
The third round, he wasn't too heavy on top. There wasn't too much pressure. He wasn't putting too much pressure as far as ground and pound. I wasn't trying to pass my guard or submit me at all. So I was able to get close to him, use my hips, and secure a good sweep. And I think it was he was holding my ankle like an ankle lock, and he wasn't doing anything with it. So I was able to switch my weight and come up on top position.
Well, I've been wanting to ask you since I saw, big KO F559 fights. what'd you think about that one? And it was pretty big for you. A lot of people have kind of shared the video around, been talking about the big knockout. What do you take from it?
I think it was a camp where we focused a lot on my boxing, and it showed. It showed, you know what I mean? It was the first time I ever knocked anybody out, and they laid unresponsive for a while. So that was cool to watch and experience him go through that, and it was a great win for me.
Well, I wanted to ask you, now you've been able to get quite a few fights under your belt in the amateur ranks. I mean, where do you see yourself now, and where do you want to take this?
I would like to become a little bit more dominant in my amateur before going pro.
Well, the last thing, do you have any thanks or shout-outs before we let you go, man?
Yeah, I want to thank Fred Senpai, Shao, Fredzo, Jim, all my family in Fresno and all the students there, Athletic Performance, and Doc Joe Martin for helping me with all this.
Well, you can find post-fight coverage at srma.com. I want to congratulate you one more time, and thank you again for your time, James.
Thank you, Savage.
Back on the 47th episode of the Verbal Scrap Podcast, presented by 5150 Fightwear. I'd like to give those guys a shout-out. They're always doing big things, and like you heard in the Justin Baesman interview, able to manage Justin Baesman and a pool of other talented fighters. You can find more information about those guys at 5150fightwear.com. Back on the 47th episode of the Verbal Scrap Podcast for you guys interested in local amateur events taking place in California. 559 Fights going to be putting on their 16th event in Visalia. You can check out 559 Fights on Facebook. It's going to be August 24th, so get your tickets immediately if you're interested in that. Also, on the card was Roy CASTRO. Took place Central Coast Throwdown, like I said, the 27th. Roy CASTRO was able to pull out a decision victory over Aaron Hamilton, and I caught up with him after the fight, so let's hear Mr. Castro.
It's Jay Watt from SRMA.com. We're here live at CC Throwdown, post-fight with the victorious Roy CASTRO. It looked like, for the majority of the fight, you were the guy kind of dictating the pace and where the fight was going to go. What did you see while you were in there?
Well, I was just kind of disappointed that I won by a split decision. I thought I had him in the second round with 50 unanswered crucifix shots, but the ref didn't want to stop it. But, hey, I'm not going to complain. Refs, I know the ref at a personal level.
Well, like I said, in the second round you were talking about, it looked like you were able to just keep landing unanswered shots when you had him pinned down. Did you really think they were going to stop the fight there?
I really did, and I was really hoping. I was just going to, since there were at least 30 to 45 unanswered shots, I thought, hey, that's it, home run.
Well, also in the third, I was going to ask you, you looked like you were a little bit bothered that Aaron wasn't really engaging you too often. I mean, what are your thoughts about the pace he was trying to keep with you?
I understand that he wants to win at a conservative level, but at the same time, I want to show people what they want. They want to see a boxing match. If they want to see, a chicken run, there's not the wrong business. But hey, I'm here to fight. I just want to fight.
Well, the last thing I wanted to ask you, in the first, you looked like you were really close to sinking in the knee bar. How close was it really?
It was close, but I had my arm, and I should have had put my armpit in there. Instead, I got carried away. I seen arm, but I couldn't finish it. It's because I didn't put my armpit into her. You know what I mean? But it is what it is.
Well, moving forward, what do you take from this fight, and do you have any thanks and shout outs you'd like to give?
Well, I just got to work more on my boxing, more against counter fighters. But it's. I hope you guys enjoy this fight. So.
Oh, no, it was fun to watch. But, yeah, last thing, do you have any thanks or shout-outs you'd like to give before I let you go, man?
I want to thank Master V and Kutar. I would like to thank Lethal Body Barts for my promotions and all my sparring partners that make it happen. And thank you.
Well, it was a pleasure to watch you fight, and I appreciate your time. Good luck for you in the future, man.
Thank you very much.
Also on the card, Kawika JARRA was able to pull out a really quick victory, pulled out the finish, one of the better finishes of the night. I was able to catch up with him after the fight, and he had a lot of friendly words.
It's Jay Watt from SRMA.com. We're here live at CC Throwdown, the post-fight victorious Kawika JARRA. I wanted to say it was a pleasure to watch you fight. I mean, what do you think, after you've been able to assess what you did inside the cage?
Pretty much just went in there and handled business, straight up,
What would you think about him as an opponent? He seemed like he was very game, wanted to throw with you, and you were able to kind of counter that and dictate the pace.
Well, when I first Michael McNeal, the promoter, asked me about the fight, I already know I had this fight, and I'm more experienced, of course. I've been training for a while, and I know this is my fight, so I fought my fight, and I didn't rush this time, took my time, and just went in there and handled.
Well, the finish itself, is that something you saw coming in the fight the way you saw it might going?
Yes. If he went to the ground, I would just have to land some ground and pound because I love doing some grounding and pounding. It's fun, especially if you knock down your opponent and you follow up, and pounce on them, pretty much. And rain down some bombs,
Well, you're still, relatively young in the sport. What are you doing with your amateur career? Is it still a hobby? Do you think you might want to take this summer? What do you want to do?
I want to turn pro. I told myself when I was a teenager, I want to be pro at something, and I see like this is it. MMA. It's a new sport. It's growing, And thank you for interviewers like you. What's your name again?
Johnny.
Johnny for interviewing all the fighters, on their W's or losses or upcoming fights, And me as a fighter, I appreciate that, I mean, because MMA is
still young.
Yeah, crazy sport too. It's crazy, I mean, it ain't like boxing, it's more money in it than MMA. But to me, it's not about the money. It's about going in there. You love fighting, for one, and then you care about the fans. That's what I feel about MMA.
Well,
and
last thing, do you have any thanks or shout-outs you'd like to give?
Yeah, to our Team Qatar, Jesus, of course, our Lord and Savior. He's a man. My family and all my supporters that was there helping me. I bought some tickets, I came.
Well, you can find post-fight coverage at SRMA.com. I want to congratulate you and thank you for your time, sir.
Thank you.
Back on the 47th episode of the Verbal Scrap Podcast, presented by Lana's Egg Whites. You can check out Lana's Egg Whites on Facebook or their website for more information. They have all kinds of stuff to help athletes interested in weight gain using egg white supplements and proteins. So you got to check out Lana's Egg Whites if you're interested in that kind of stuff. Now, back on the episode, we're going to get into our West Coast coverage happening August 3rd. You're going to be finding the Mark Matthews-Scott Smith matchup in the main event of the evening, but also on the card, Jason Powell going to take on Solomon Amadar for an amateur title. I caught up with Jason, so now let's hear his thoughts about his West Coast fight.
It's Jay Watt from SRMA.com. We're here with Jason the Gentleman Powell. You're going to be fighting at this West Coast event coming up soon. I mean, what do you think about the opportunity first just to be on a card with some of the guys you're able to see at Media Day?
It's great. I was originally supposed to just fight just a normal fight at 145s, and then this title shot came up at 55s, and I couldn't pass it up. So we're fighting a really good opponent, 4-0 at Alpha Male, and I'm just really, really pumped for it. I'm excited.
Well, like you said, you're going to be fighting a 4-0 opponent from Alpha Male, Solomon Amadar. I've been able to see him a couple times. He's got a good cardio. I mean, have you been able to see any of his fights, and what do you think of him as an opponent?
Yeah, we saw all his fights. We respect him a lot, his camp a lot. Very tough. I feel I'm kind of going in as the underdog in this fight, which I've always loved. I like going in as an underdog. And I just want to put on a good show and kind of prove. I think this is going to open a lot of doors for me if I win this one.
Well, I wanted to ask you about your mindset, since you started the sport and where it's been able to take you so far. I mean, what does that do to push you forward, and what do you think about what you've been able to garner so far as respect?
I started this June of last year, and I've had 3 fights, and I was able to win a NorCal Combat Championship, and I think everything's going great. I feel like I'm 10 times better this year already than last year. Standalone is like the best team around. Eddie Cole's the best striking coach, and Jake Shields the best conditioning coach. So I think I'm getting the best of 3 different worlds. So it's just going great, and I want to continue to keep doing this as far as I can.
Well, have you had an opportunity to kind of envision what you think might play out during this fight, and if so, what do you got?
Well, he's apparently everyone says he likes to shoot double legs, which the funny thing is that's kind of what I was known for in wrestling. So I think it's a good matchup for me. He's gonna shoot. I'm expecting. My striking's on point. I think I was able to finish my last fight with a head kick. So I think I'm pretty diverse, and I hope that causes problems for him.
Well, last thing I wanted to ask you, having an amateur title for West Coast, I mean, obviously they got a lot of top amateurs that have their titles. What do you think it'll do for you moving forward?
I think it's going to do a lot for me. I mean, one of my best friends in cornerman, Benito Lopez, won a title, and then now he's off in Albuquerque training with the best in the world. So I think if I win this one, it could open a lot of doors, like I said. So I'm really, really excited.
Do you have any thanks or shout-outs before we let you go?
Yeah, for sure. Victory Tattoo in Chico. Blood Happens out of Reno. They're the best. Yeah. Standalone, Kicks by Cole, Freestyle Fitness, Warborn Clothing. Yeah. My dad, I love my dad too. He's right there, so I had to say that.
Well, you can find ticket information at westcoastfighting.com and post-fight coverage at srma.com. I want to thank you for your time, Jason, and look forward to seeing you fight.
Thanks, buddy. Thank you.
Also on the card, Jeremiah the Kid Labiano, who you might have seen SRMA.com information about. He recently won the XFC Open Tryout for 2013. Didn't agree to a deal with those guys. He's going to be fighting for West Coast Fighting for their bantamweight title, taking on Bernard Turner, former Gladiator Challenge champion. We were able to speak with Labiano, so let's hear his thoughts.
It's Jay Watt from SRMA.com. We're here live at Media Day for West Coast Fighting 6. Talking to Jeremiah Labiano. You're going to be fighting for the bantamweight title. First, I wanted to ask you, about the Arise event. You were able to be victorious. You came out of that. It's been a while. What do you take from that fight coming in to fight a guy like Bernard Turner?
Oh, yeah, it's great. I mean, it was a tough fight. I mean, the guy was bantamweight champion coming off of coming off of a win too, so he had a lot of momentum going into the fight, and I honestly had more to lose in that fight because he's just a 1-0 pro, but I mean he did go 11-3 in amateur, so but I just stuck to the game plan, do what I do best, and just finish people.
Well, you got a title shot now. You've been able to win the XFC Open tryout. A lot of things going right for you. How do you stay on track with your training and keep on point for the next fight?
Man, just keep grinding. I don't stop, man. Just training every day. I work at the academy. This is my business. I got to do everything to protect it. So, guys are out here fighting for fun. I mean, I do it for fun too. But at the end of the day, this is how I eat.
Well, you're going to be fighting Bernard Turner. He's been able to finish 3 out of his last 4 fights. I mean, what do you think about him as an opponent? You had some opportunity now to think about the fight.
Yeah, I respect everyone I fight. I don't see him on the same level as me. I'm on a whole totally different level. I've done my research. I've done my homework. I train hard. I do everything right. So on August 3rd, I'm looking to finish. I'm looking to finish Bernard.
Well, I had 2 more things for you. He relinquished his Gladiator Challenge title to come over here and fight you. I mean, what do you think about guys, now knowing your name enough to where the opportunity's there, they're going to step up and take it and fight a guy like you?
Yeah, that's probably a big mistake for his part because I don't know why you would relinquish a belt just to fight someone else. I mean, hats off to him, whatever. I mean, August 3rd, I'm bringing the heat, so I'm ready.
Well, last thing I wanted to ask you, coming in here, fight a guy like Bernard. He's respected around here in this area, obviously training with mixed breed. What do you think a win over him will do, along with this title, to take you to the next level with everything else you got going right for you?
I just got to keep finishing, guys. I'm always looking further ahead than just the belt. The belt's going to be the consequence of the good job I do in the cage. So, I'm looking at bigger and better things. So it's just going to get me a step closer to, hopefully making it to the UFC one day.
We can find more coverage at SRMA.com. I want to thank you and wish you luck, Jeremiah.
Thanks, Johnny.
Here on the 47th episode of the Verbal Scrap Podcast, we got Mark the Machine Matthews taking on Scott Hands of Steel Smith, UFC veteran with a lot of talent. Says he's back in the right mind now. We were able to catch up with Matthews and get his thoughts about fighting the guy that so many people respect and have the opportunity to fight for the middleweight title. So let's hear the main event of the evening's thoughts, Mr. Mark Matthews.
It's Jay Watt from SRMA.com. We're here live at Media Day for West Coast Fighting, talking to Mark Matthews. You're going to be the main event, fighting Scott Hands of Steel Smith. I mean, what do you think about your opponent?
Man, he's a local legend, you know what I mean? I was watching Scott fight before I ever even seriously considered fighting myself. So just to be at a point now where I can stand across the cage and look at him and just nod my head like it's about to go down, I'm really happy about that.
Well, obviously this is going to be a title fight. I mean, what do you think about having a West Coast title at the outcome of this fight, and what do you think that'll do for you?
Man, I think it'll be a great springboard. I mean, in my opinion, West Coast is the best promotion out of Northern California, hands down. Maybe even all of California. I just don't know enough about any other promotions. But I know that getting as well as defending a belt in this type of promotion with the talent pool that we have out here, I think it's going to be a great move for me.
Well, like you heard in the press conference, Scott Smith says he's on a whole new level as far as mentally. He feels like he's in a better place, more prepared. So you're most likely going to be seeing the real Scott Smith that people grew to love and know. I mean, what do you think about fighting that guy and not the guy that many see on the losing streak lately?
Well, you know what? I mean, I enjoy challenges, and to know that I'm going to go in there with the best him that's going to be in there. If I walk away from that, victorious, I mean, there's no asterisk next to it. You know what I mean? It's not like, yeah, but he had faded and this and this and this and this. Because, I mean, yeah, his record says he hasn't done well lately, but obviously he was going through a rough personal phase, which he has pulled out of. And going through that myself, which is also part of the reason I haven't fought for the last year, aside from injury, I can relate to what that shift is like. And having gone through that shift in another area of my life, and this fight is closure for a lot of things, and I'm sure it's going to be for him also. So you're going to see some demons come out that night.
Well, and a few more quick things for you. Like we were talking about Scott Smith, mental state. How is your mental state coming into this one, and how is your preparation?
My preparation went great. I had a pretty good camp. My body responded well. I caught staph early in camp. I got injured at the end of before the James Irvin fight. I suffered an injury early in this camp that I didn't have to really take too much time off for, but I had to work around. And just staying in motion when things like that happen just help your psyche. You know what I mean? Because at the end, when I make that walk to the cage, I know I did everything that I needed to do to prepare for that night and come out victorious. And I'm sure he did too. If you look at his fight style, I mean, he's been fighting how I fight just longer than I have. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like we have the same tendencies. When we get hit, we like to hit back. So, you know, I could come out here with some elaborate-ass game plan, but what's going to happen? We're going to go out there and punch each other in the face till one of us gets tired, and that's probably going to be who ends up winning the fight. Whoever still has more in the tank at the end and can put some more mustard on their punch or take the fight where they need it to go to win.
Well, do you have any thanks or shout-outs before we let you go, sir?
Yeah, for sure. Always my children, Savina, Marcos, I love you guys. You guys are always in my corner, always on my shoulders. My sponsors, warworldwide.com. I've got In Couture, New York City, a big upper-end tattoo shop out of New York that's working with me now. I've got a Red Rooster Catering Trucks, just hopped on the sponsorship team. Pacific Audio, they've been around for a while. Make sure you go see them and tell them Mark sent you. Who else? Striker Battle Gear, Beat Down Fight Gear. All you guys here in the media, all the local fans, man, who just come up and say positive things to me when I'm out and about, or just hit me with those random messages on Facebook. Man, there's days that I don't want to do shit. I'm an old man. I want to lay in bed. But it's those kinds of words and that kind of energy that keeps me going. And I got to make sure your faith isn't misplaced. So I got to go out there and make it happen for you guys, make you guys proud.
WestCoastFightingChampionships.com. You can find more ticket information. Click that link at srmma.com for more. And want to wish you the best of luck coming August 3rd.
Thank you, sir.
For you UFC fans interested in what's going down this weekend, August 3rd, UFC 163, Jose Aldo is going to be taking on the Korean Zombie in a title defense. Lyoto Machida is going to also be taking on Phil Davis in the light heavyweight division. Let's check out the UFC 163 trailer.
Featherweight champion in the history of the sport, ladies and gentlemen. And it is all over. Jose Aldo knocks out Chad Mendes. You're really at the top of the division. It's going to be very difficult to think of who can challenge you. The Korean Zombie has done it again. Early. Unbelievable. And it is all over. He's absolutely spectacular. Jose Aldo, step aside. Enter the Zombie. The Korean Zombie. Chan Sung Jung. Korean Zombie's on fire now. Jose Aldo is one of the best fighters, pound for pound, on the planet Earth, if not the best. The featherweight championship. Flying kick to the face. Oh, my goodness. Lyoto Machida, the winner by submission. Phil Davis. Korean Zombie just finished him. Unreal. What a shocking end.
Going down Saturday, August 3rd, only on pay-per-view. You can check out UFC 163. That's going to do it for our 47th episode of the Verbal Scrap Podcast. We had news from Dragon House, CC Throwdown, Bellator MMA, West Coast Fighting, and we had our new segment with Andre Touchy Fili. Remember to go on our Twitter at SRMMA Tweets and tweet us, hashtag AskTouchy, that's TOUCHY, and we will get you some questions that might be fed directly to Andre Touchy Fili, the West Coast champion, for our next installment of Ask Touchy. For you guys that are interested in contributing to SRMMA, remember my email is jw@srmma.com. Interested in ads, sales, anything else, you can email info@srmma.com for more information. Please like us on Facebook and share everything you can. Facebook.com/SRMMA. I want to thank all of our fans. Everybody that likes anything and doesn't have anything negative to say is just interested in journalism and what we put out. I really appreciate it. It's a pleasure to work with all the entities that allow us to cover their fights. Really hope that we're able to come back, and I really hope that if anyone out there is listening and wants us to cover their fights, you can go ahead and email me or tweet us or get in touch with us in any way. We'd love to come out. Remember, our show is brought to you by MMAGold.com. You can check out MMAGold.com for more fighter management and apparel information if you're interested in that. And for you guys that don't know now, we got our musical feature of the evening. It's Godzilla. Also, Andre Touchy Fili's band, they put out some new music. Their newest song, Skunks, don't really have a past or present. That guy is fantastic. If you didn't know it, you know it now after the 47th episode. So if you're listening to me now, you're checking out It's Godzilla.